गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानन्दन व्रजनरञ्जन यशोदानन्दन व्रजनरञ्जन यमुनातीरात्मनचारि यमुनातीरात्मनचारि जय राधमाधवा कुञ्ज बिहारी जय राधमाधवा कुञ्ज बिहारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे नारायण नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् शृणुतां स्वाकथा कृष्ण पुण्यश्रवणं कीर्तना हृदयान्ताय सुतो अभद्राणि विधुनोति कुहृत्सतां नष्टप्रायशः भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवते महत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय गुरुवे गौरचंद्राय राधिकाय तदालु कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले प्रभु श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी नाम नमस्ते सरस्वते देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणी निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणी Okay. We are reading 1.17.24. 24. Yeah. Okay. So I'll recite once and can follow. Tapashocham daya satyam iti padakate kataha adharmamascha bhagna sarvayo bhagna smaya sangha madestava tapashocham daya satyam iti padah krite kataha adharmamscha trayo bhagnaha smaya sangha madestava tapashocham daya satyam iti padah krite kataha adharmamshtrayo bhagna smaya sangaste tapashocham daya satyam iti padah krite kataha adharmamshtrayo bhagna smaya sangasmadestava. Okay. Tapa, austerity. Socham, cleanliness. Daya, mercy. Satyam, truthfulness. Iti, thirst. Padaha, legs. Kate, in the age of Satya. Krataha, established. Adharma, irreligiosity. Asam, amsashaha, by the parts. Traya, three combined. Bhagna, broken. Smaya, pride, sangha, too much association with women, madhe, intoxication, tava, yor. Translation: in the age of Satya, truthfulness, your four legs were established by the four principles of austerity, cleanliness, mercy, and truthfulness. But it appears that three of your legs are broken due to rampant irreligion in the form of pride, lust for women, and intoxication. So far we are here in the chapter where Pariksit Maharaj is conversing with the bull and the Mother Earth as they are distressed, and after the Lord has left, and the Kali has taken over, and in the form of a king, he is acting as a king, and he is mercilessly behavior with them, and he's beating them. And right now they are actually, the conversation is going that Parikshit Maharaj wants to know what is this, why they are, what is the situation. He doesn't act right away. So I think last time that's what we were talking, that why that Parikshit Maharaj did not take the action right away. He acted. He doesn't act impulsively. He acts very scrutinizingly. He checks with, as an administrator, he checks the situation and he hears both the sides. So that is the quality of a dhira. Even there might be a situation that the Shastra says that the cows or bull, if they are in a religious society, they should not be put into that any difficult situation, and because they are sattvic gun, and they are considered very pure, and so as a mother, and so. But here we see that this situation has caused them distress, and so the King Parikshit is asking further, and so that's he's further stating what has happened with them, and so he's talking about from Shastric perspective. His thoughts are also, because he's a pure devotee of the Lord, and so he is talking about that that your legs are. The four legs were there in the Satya Yuga. There was dharma has all the four legs, and so one of them is first of all is tapa. Tapa is austerity. So austerity. So let's go through purport once. Okay, I'll read for the purport. The deluding energy or material nature can act upon the living beings proportionately in terms of the living beings falling prey to the deluding attraction of Maya. Moths are captivated by the glaring brightness of light, and thus they become prey to the fire. Similarly, the deluding energy is always captivating and conditions souls to become prey to the fire of delusion. And the Vedic scriptures warn the conditioned souls not to become prey to delusion, but to get rid of it. The Vedas warn us to not go to the darkness of ignorance, but to the progressive path of light. The Lord himself also warns that the deluding power of material energy is too powerful to overcome, but one who completely surrenders onto the Lord can easily do so. But to surrender onto the lotus feet of the Lord is also not very easy. Such surrender is possible by persons of austerity, cleanliness, mercy, and truthfulness. These four principles of advanced civilization were remarkable features in the age of Satya. In that age, every human being was particularly a qualified Brahmana of the highest order, and in the social orders of life, they were all Paramahamsas, or the topmost in the renounced order. By cultural understanding, the human beings were not at all subjected to the deluding energy. Such a strong man of character was competent enough to get away from the clutches of Maya. But gradually, as the basic principles of Brahminical culture, namely austerity, cleanliness, mercy, and truthfulness, became curtailed by proportionate development of pride, attachment for women, and intoxication, the path of salvation or the path of transcendental bliss retreated far, far away from human society. With the progression of the age of Kali, people are becoming very proud and attached to women and intoxication. By the influence of the age of Kali, even a pauper is proud of his penny. The women are always dressed in an overly attractive fashion to victimize the minds of men, and the man is addicted to drinking wine, smoking, drinking tea, and chewing tobacco, etc. All these habits or so-called advancement of civilization are the root causes of all irreligiosity. and therefore it is not possible to check corruption, bribery, and nepotism. Man cannot check all these evils simply by statutory acts and police vigilance, but he can cure the disease of the mind by proper medicine, namely advocating the principles of Brahminical culture or the principles of austerity, cleanliness, mercy, and truthfulness. Modern civilization and economic development are creating a new situation of poverty and scarcity with the result of blackmailing the consumers' commodities. If the leaders and rich men of the society spend 50% of their accumulated wealth mercifully for the misled mass of people and educate them in God consciousness, the knowledge of Bhagavatam, certainly the age of Kali, will be defeated in its attempt to entrap the conditioned souls. We must always remember that false pride or too high an estimation of one's own values of life, undue attachment to women or association with them, and intoxication will divert human civilization from the path of peace. However much the people clamor for the peace of the world, the preaching of the Bhagavatam principles will automatically render all men austere, clean both inside and outside, merciful to the suffering, and truthful in daily behavior. That is the way of correcting the flaws of human society, which are very prominently exhibited at the present moment. So, obviously, this is very high standard in the purport Prabhupada is setting, and that is because Prabhupada is pure devotee himself. He is completely surrendered. So, he is saying that all the leaders of the society they should act according to the Brahmanas instructions, and they should dedicate their life, and they give the all the income like 50%, they should give everyone in the civilization and misguide to those people who are misguided. They should be given the bring it to the closer to the God. So Prabhupada had I think Hare Krishna Prabhu posted a couple of days back about that when Prabhupada for the first time went from here, from USA back to Vrindavan with his disciples. So he sent them to Radha Damodar temple, and they were cleaning there, and in the cabinet they saw the Prabhupada has the notes, and the first of them, that's, yeah, first to-do list. First of them says, there was only one in the to-do list? Okay.
Other people had like, okay, clean the room, and
Yeah.
Prabhupada had only one.
Yeah. So it says to bring the civilization out of the godlessness. So people who are godliness in the society, to bring them out of that situation. So yes. So they actually, so that's what it is so surprising. That's why Prabhupada is setting so much high standard for everyone. And so let's so see what let's see what is the all the four of these principles. And actually, these are called. If we go to the Bhagavad Gita in second chapter, Lord says, when a person free from all attachment and aversion and able to control his senses through regulative principles of freedom can obtain the complete mercy of the Lord. He calls them then regulative principles of freedom. So if he takes any courses in the from the ISKCON which offers, they have mentioned these principles because that is the basis of bringing the civilization. The first you have ability to take the to go forward in the next step for and in the spiritual path for Krishna consciousness. So there is a do list and there is a not to do list. So not to do. So this is called actually the four things which it is correspond that first of all when we do austerity, that which is the, so it gives it brings us out of the intoxication because everybody is intoxicated with the illusion of Maya already, and those people who take the substance or they use some alcohol, that actually brings down even the, it has a multiple effects. First of all is those people who are unhappy with their lives, they go for material abuse, the substance abuse. So the first of all they are not happy. The second, Second thing is they want to seek happiness somewhere, so they want to change their situation. And then third thing they do is they try to become more illusion. They like hallucination. They want to imagine something. So alcohol and these all different substance do all this kind of to our senses. And if senses are itself misled, then the intelligence is destroyed. And the intelligence is destroyed, then the further the ability for the judgment is lost. So that's why the Lord is saying that is principles of freedom. That means first you become free from illusion, then you can move ahead on the spiritual path. So that's why we say that okay, first we follow this no to-do list. So that's when we become the human and we become eligible to take the spiritual path, because that is what the life is meant for, this human life. So in the So Prabhupada had written a letter, actually, not a letter, on the notice board, actually. He had, in the New York City, he had, I'll just read that, what he has written in the notice board. He has mentioned that how to stay high forever. So because once, if we are high, we actually need, so because in Kali Yuga, the material situation is also not very pleasant. And so even the economically or even the, like we see through the environment, so all we have three miseries like Devik, Adibhotik, Adidevik, Adibhotik, and Adhyatmic. Yeah, so all these three miseries are very controlling the mind. So and the senses. So we are in the very engrossed by them. So we always need to go high, and some people always seek the shelter in somewhere. So those who take the shelter of the Maya, so they also can get that by the counteracting them, getting the high in different way by the holy name, which is most powerful. So stay high forever. That is the notice board says. No more coming down. Practice Krishna consciousness. So it says like the program name says transcendental sound vibration. Expand your consciousness by practicing the transcendental sound vibration. This chanting will cleanse the dust from the mirror of the mind and free you from all material contamination. It is practical, self-evident, and requires no artificial aid. Try it and be blissful all the time. Then it says turn on. How we turn on this transcendental sound vibration? It says through music, dance, philosophy, science, religion, and prasad, spiritual food. You find that? Yeah. Yes. So then it gives the mantra Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And then we need to tune in. We need to tune in because actually we are all vibration. We even if those people who sees from the analytical perspective, they also come to the conclusion that we all are the vibrations. So in the sound, and if the sound is in the tune of the which is the source of everything, so then that is his shelter. That is the natural shelter for it, and that's where it gets the ultimate peace and the happiness. That is the transcendental position. So how do we tune in? We awaken your transcendental nature, rejoice in the ocean of bliss by chanting this Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And then it says, rejoice in the ocean of bliss. The process of Sankirtan, chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, brings about transcendental ecstasy. And we drop out of what? Movements employing artificially induced states of self-realization and expanded consciousness. Such methods only led to spiritual laziness and chaos, and all brings down, flip out, and stay for eternity. Bhakti Yoga has been practiced for many centuries and is authorized by India's great Acharyas. Swami Bhaktivedanta.
Swami Bhaktivedanta is in the bona fide line of Krishna's scientific expression. He has especially come to this country to spiritually guide young Americans. The International Society for Krishna Consciousness 26th Avenue between First and Second Street in New York. You are cordially invited to come and bring your friends. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 p.m. Every morning at 7. Wow.
So I say Prabhupada is so sharp. He gives the timing also. They know that people, those who are lazy, they need it most. So he gives the timing Friday at 7 p.m. first. And then he says 7 a.m. every morning. So he knows that he is targeting that those who are
More easier for
yes, they're more active in evening, and they are the candidates for Krishna consciousness, because those who have already taken, they will somehow they have some goodness. Once their intelligence is more inclined, they will come to that understanding. And but those who are distressed completely, and they're taking the completely approach. They already taking those who are people awake in the night. They are already taking shelter in the Maya, and they are desperate for some happiness. So they know the importance of this happiness, and so they try to forget their pains and troubles. And so if they know the importance of this that importance of the happiness, that because the other people might think, okay, be just that there is a philosophy, okay, impersonalist, those who are very intelligent, they are actually very not that much favorable candidate for Krishna consciousness, then because they already made up their mind that okay, I am living in the mode of goodness, but that is I just want to be um, um, completely in peaceful situation, and the peace is the ultimate goal. But they do not understand that peace is also temporary, and there can be fall down from that. And because we have the spiritual sciences, and it is not possible to remain without happiness. So at least those people who are awake in the night, they know that they cannot live without happiness. So that's just so smart from Prabhupada. Um, okay, so what is the Ayurveda saying about this intoxication? That Ayurveda mentioned.
intoxication of the
Yes, yeah. So actually, these four things. First of all, the tapa. Tapa is for no intoxication. Like if I'm so it is destroyed by intoxication. So even the doing tapa, like even if I give up the all material abuse, that itself is the austerity. So even of not taking intoxication, and so if and the socham is destroyed by illicit sex or by polluting mind. Even Prabhupada very strictly says for polluting mind, even watching the television, even the political news, unnecessary philosophy, reading novels or imaginary stuff, even the daydreaming. These are all symptoms of that living in the hallucination situation. Um, then daya is meat eating, and meat eating is just very basic thing, and so the compassion goes further, but we'll go into detail. Then there is satyam. Satyam is no gambling, as it is destroyed by no gambling. So if we indulge in any kind of the kind of situation like bidding or the taking, even the investment, yeah, even stocks, even planning too much. If we go into deeper, that generally any human being should not plan for naturally for the next 10 years, 15 years. But because we don't have that spiritual strength, we plan to some level, But Prabhupada gives example like even the like animal. First of all, they have this quality. They do not they depend on this. They will take their two hands. I mean, or whatever. They will just put in the things in the mouth. Or those who are able to use their hands, they will just take the whatever is in the handful situation, and they will just take it and just. And then next day they are dependent on the Lord again. So, but the human has come to this level. They just want to collect too much. So this that destroys. Even the nectar of instructions mentions us about atyahara. So this destroys the bhakti. Um, okay. So the what is the further about austerity? Why it is important to accept austerity is like to accept voluntarily things which are not very comfortable for the body, and but like the fasting, but fasting, even the waking up in the morning, and so we need first of all we want to utilize our senses and give them some kind of uh, things which is not very comfortable for them, and even that little bit pain which is tolerable, but we are into the situation, we think okay, this is my situation, but that is a mode of ignorance, and I just want to feel comfortable in that. And but dependence on the material enjoyments, on the bodily demand, this this destroys the austerity, and this keeps us away and takes us further to mode of ignorance. And the Bhagavad Gita 2.59 says that Vishya vinivartante niraharasya dehina rasvarjam raso apyasya param drashtava nivartate. So this tells that param drashtava nivartate rasvarjam raso apyasya. By the taking the another rasa, which is the higher, the taste, taking the higher taste, we by the param drashtva, by that which is the transcendental vision, that nivartate, from that, from the vishya, from the vishya, from the all the material contamination, one can be. So from one higher taste, one can counteract taste of this material enjoyment, because the for a devotee, these tastes will look very minute, and he will never be inclined. So somebody who has 1 million rupees or $1 million, he will not be attracted to like some house which is like 100,000. He will not be attracted. This is set of somebody. You want this one or you want this one. So those all small things don't matter to them. And the intoxication further takes to misuse of our senses. So anyone with a sane mind will who will not accept that he wants to abuse his physically mentality, and it will be, because it will be physically it will be spiritually detrimental. So that's why it destroys the principle of austerity. So it gives a reason that why people do not want to take the austerity, because they want to take the easy meaning. Easy means very quick fix for avoiding their suffering in the world. Immediate, they want some immediate relief from this. But the holy name also gives that same thing. It's immediately takes the effect as soon as one chants. So like that, what it does, nectar of devotion in the Rupa Goswami says, the like for pure devotion, he describes there are 6 things which happens to from the pure devotional service. But at least for even who is taking who is very beginner, he also can feel those 2 things, 2 qualities right away without any delay. We don't have to go to pure devotional service. At least come to the first 2, we can immediately enjoy, and those are klesha. As soon as my senses are burning with the different desires, as soon as I take a holy name, those burning desires will go away, at least for the moment I am taking. And then another effect is Shubda. That is all auspicious. So these two things immediately happen. But those who constantly do that, they realize that they get established.
What are the other?
Other four are moksha lagu takvit. That means deriding the concepts of liberation. They find liberation is very minute thing. They're not attracted to that anymore. The next is sudurlabha. That is very rarely achieved, pure devotional service. So um, that means mercy of the Lord comes very rare. And the fifth is Sandardan, no, Sandra Ananda Visheshatma. That means condensed bliss. That means they feel ecstasy actually. So that is very high level of somebody like who is a drug addict. He might feel very high, not just who is using regularly small things. So so that's why that transcendental bliss is very condensed because he feels very close to the Lord who comes to that. And the sixth is Sri Krishna Akarshani. That means he even attracts Krishna, and that's why we see in the past times sometimes Lords comes in the Sanatan Goswami, that we see that Radharani comes and she comes and when he is sweating and she starts fanning him. So we see that even the Krishna and even the Radharani comes, even those who attracts Krishna, even she comes and she comes for the she give association to the pure devotee. So that these are the symptoms of it. Okay. The next is socham, that is cleanliness. The cleanliness is of two kinds, of the body and the mind. So, body, we already talked about like mind, how of the mind, not even the reading any philosophy or any material which is not of the devotional philosophy, which are not based, which do not take one forward to attach to Krishna. So any kind of this philosophy, even the novels, these pollute mind, and of course the illicit sex, and the bodily socham is like waking up early in the morning, or bathing, cleaning the body. Um, So there are this actually cleaning the body is also required if one, because one has to go to different upper stage. So one needs to be established in that regularly. 3 times bathing, Prabhupada told, even for Brahmanas. So this is as per Shastras. So that means even after any time worshipping the deities, even in home, so one gets accustomed to that, the cleaning of his body. But that's why these tapa and socham, they are very interconnected. It feels very inconvenient taking even twice a bath. Yeah. So daya is the third one. That is no meat eating. So this one says that one should be that not just eating meat. It is not just a matter of compassion itself. One has to think. Of course, that is a side effect of that. Otherwise, even the compassion from the one's mind is destroyed, and that's why the people becomes violent. They feel very easy to become take the weapons in their hand, and they don't feel anything. What as a devotee, one has to feel about like any devotee is a paradukha dukhi. He can feel the other's pain. But the one who has been eating meat, he will not even think twice before killing. And what about the sinful reactions he will receive? But there is a whole long list of meat eating. Just 1 second. What should avoid in other than meat eating? There is even the egg, fish, or any even the other kind of liquor, tea, coffee, or anything which is in the mode of ignorance, like the we avoid onion and garlic as well. Um, and according to Mhm. Yeah.
And mercy, peace and mercy is they are right.
Yeah.
But mercy is something which is good for somebody. For like the man with mercy,
Mm.
good for not material, spiritual, which I received, but I didn't deserve. Which I deserve, but I didn't give. That is personal. So I think the example of university, it's like they don't deserve die. They really try mercy, make sure that not just will be let others become, more than not very good and give the answer, at the level of love that is
So why these things are important? Actually, all these four things, and these are called principles of freedom. That our body has. I'm talking about from an Ayurvedic perspective. There is an body has an ojas that is called tej as well. So tej is the ojas, which is an element in us, and that is destroyed by either by use of alcohol or anything which is in the mode of ignorance, or even by the activity which are in the mode of ignorance or in the mode of passion. So that's why this. So actually, even it creates its illusion, fear, grief, anger, death, and disease. And so there are different reactions for it. That includes that changes of consciousness and inability to cope with life and always looking for quick fix for distress. So there was pastimes where with the sons of Kuvera, where they were actually in the close to they were actually enjoying with a woman. They were intoxicated, and they are sons of Kuvera, Nal Kuvera and Manigreva. Yes, so they are actually they are because very wealthy, and he is Kuvera is the devotee of Lord Shiva, and he was blessed with so much wealth, and but their sons were actually intoxicated with that wealth, and they were enjoying with the woman, and it was actually in the Kailash itself, on the Kailash mountain, close to Kailash mountain, and so with the naked woman, and they were intoxicated, but they were too. That Narad Muni was actually walking across very close by, and he saw them, and even though woman started covering up, they were not so intoxicated. But that's what happens. Even the too much wealth and even too much collecting, that it causes wealth creates a mind, it puts into the illusion, and it creates that this is my permanent situation. That's why this administrator or the political powers who has, they have very easily can fall into the trap, and it causes them. They see the temporary situation as a permanent. So that's why they were cursed by. But everyone does not get the mercy of the pure devotee, but they got the mercy of the Narad Muni, and they were cursed, but that was a blessing to them, that they will be turned out, they will be relief, they will get relief from misery when the Lord will take them. That we see in the past times and the Damodar Leela. That's after the Damodar Leela, that how the Lord brings down the two trees, and so they were turned into the two different trees, and so it is actually shows the contrast that how it's even difficult to get this mercy, even that's a rare. I mean, past times has this rare situation, but Prabhupada has given this mercy that is available to everybody, and that's why even the Kali Yuga has this. We see very distressful situation, but in that it's very easily accessible. Thus, the holy name is available. Um, so that's so why it is a relief. Um, we will see that in the next verse. We can read. There are three more verses. 1:17-25. Idanim dharma padaste satyam nivarted yatah cham jigraha kshatya adharma ayam andretenanditah kalihi. Translation: You are now standing on one leg only, which is your truthfulness, and you are somehow or other hobbling alone. But quarrel, personified Kali, flourishing by deceit, is also trying to destroy that leg. Read the purport.
The principles of religion do not stand or man-made formulas, but they stand on four primary regulative observances, namely austerity, cleanliness, mercy, and truthfulness. The mass of people must be taught to practice these principles from childhood. Austerity means to accept voluntarily things which may not be very comfortable for the body, but are conducive for spiritual realization. For example, fasting. Fasting twice or four times a month is a sort of austerity which may be voluntarily accepted for spiritual realization only and not for any other purposes, political or otherwise. Fastings which are meant not for self-realization but for some other purposes are condemned in the Bhagavad Gita 17.5 and 6. Similarly, cleanliness is necessary both for the mind and for the body. Simply bodily cleanliness may help to some extent, but cleanliness of the mind is necessary, and it is effected by glorifying the Supreme Lord. No one can cleanse the accumulated mental dust without glorifying the Supreme Lord. A godless civilization cannot cleanse the mind because it has no idea of God, and for this simple reason, people under such a civilization cannot have good qualifications, however they may be materially equipped. We have to see things by their resultant action. The resultant action of human civilization in the age of Kali is dissatisfaction, so everyone is anxious to get peace of mind. This peace of mind was complete in the Satya age because of the existence of the above mentioned attributes of the human beings. Gradually these attributes have diminished in the Treta Yuga to 3/4, in the Dwapara to half, and in this age of Kali to 1/4, which is also gradually diminishing on account of prevailing untruthfulness. By pride, either artificial or real, the resultant action of austerity is spoiled. By too much affection for female association, cleanliness is spoiled. By too much addiction to intoxication, mercy is spoiled. And by too much lying propaganda, truthfulness is spoiled. The revival of Bhagavata Dharma can save human civilization from falling prey to evils of all description.
Yeah. So this is the also so. The truthfulness is still remaining, but truthfulness is what is remaining is not lying, and that lying is also many different kinds. Lying is like sometimes lying, and sometimes being truthful just to defend myself. If my situation is good, I will say truth. And but if or what I see, I will just say that as it is. That is a fact. But that is not absolute truth. What is that absolute truth? Aligning with that absolute truth, that is, and that truth is Krishna. So if I am not aligned, my activities are not aligned with the Krishna and with the Krishna's desire, that is not true. So
I missed one point in the conversation of Narad when he curses Nakudera Manigreva. So he said that you have this body and you are using it for intoxication to enjoy the illusory energy, but who gave you this? Who gave you this body, right? So, like how we generally say that whoever feeds me, if my master is, so I will serve that master. Whoever feeds me, I will. But who are you taking? What are the plants? Whatever you taking the food from? Who is it belongs? So it belongs to you. Actually who is the feeder? It is Krishna. Krishna is feeding you. So that's why the ultimate you have to serve to Krishna. So that's why you are supposed to be aligned with him. So it is similar here is there in the Satyam that if I am not using my senses and my senses are not aligned with the desires of Krishna, and I am serving myself, I can say the truth when it is favorable for me or what I see as a fact. But when I am not using as per Krishna's desire, that is the not a truthful situation. So even we see that in Mahabharata we see Yudhishthira Maharaj has to speak a lie. That was a lie, but because that was aligned as per Krishna's desire, so that is the truth. Because it's a bigger cause, and Krishna knows that. So that cause that he is that his purpose is to establish the religion, and that is the important for that is the favorable for all the human favorable, and that is to run this material world. And because it is a favorable situation and it is aligned with Krishna's desire, so even that might seem a lie, but it is a truth. So that how we see this, there are so let's read the next verses. I think
I wanted to add one more point here, fasting point. So Prabhupada is here saying that fastings which are not meant for self-realization, but for other purposes are condemned in Bhagavad Gita. I didn't know that. And
he brings up the point about how Gandhiji used to give up food. It was for political reasons.
But what about
I'm very curious about that.
In the freedom movement, how some people just give up food and they sit with some agenda. Like, until this happens, I will not eat.
Okay.
So he used...
so it was a protest?
Yeah, like a protest.
Okay. It's interesting because, so, in this text, it condemns fasting.
no?
If it is
condemns
not
fasting which is not meant for spiritual realization.
I got you, okay.
Because we are supposed to not be too attached to food,
Right.
or not like okay, now I'm gonna eat how much protein, too much of consciousness behind the food,
Right.
and not
Like a
understanding.
session.
Yeah.
I see.
But my point was that we also have fasting for like losing weight, what all kinds of health benefits and this and that. So I don't know if it's indirectly for spiritual realization.
it is not because
But
because it is for maintaining health, but health for what purpose? If you are enjoying with the I want to enjoy more my body, that's the purpose. It will take you deeper and deeper into the to lower degrade your mind and intelligence. Actually, in the Isha Upanishad, it clearly condemns that it will take you to deep in the darker mode of ignorance and into such
and that no. If you want to just enjoy more on your body, staying healthy is fine. But even we say, but if it is the purpose of what is the purpose of staying healthy?
Well, if somebody is a sadhaka, if somebody is
Yes, sadhaka.
ultimately temporary.
yeah, but
I think he's talking about the ultimate goal.
goal.
It will no just like it diverts you, just like the impersonalists are diverted, because it's for maybe even for you want to they become like people say, "Oh, I want to become God," because that desire is not aligned with the Krishna. And so let's read that. It's called the killer of the soul. Whoever he may be must enter into the planets known as the words of the faithless, full of darkness and ignorance. And it will be more difficult because you're enjoying more, and the tendency to enjoy your body grows more and more, and that's why it becomes it takes you to the faithless word of faithlessness. That means it keeps away from the it like in the lower planets where there we cannot even then hear the name of the Lord. We never even know about that. That's what the godless civilization is. So that means any activity or any desire, if it is not aligned and it's for self, then it is more detrimental and more dangerous even. Okay, and then there is, let's read two more verses. Iyam cha bhumir bhagavata
Iyam cha bhumi bhagavata
nyasitor bhasati
jnanito rupharasati
श्रीमद्भिस्तात पदान्यासः
Vimadvisarpadanyasai
सर्वतः कृतः कौतकः.
sarvataha krita
The burden of the earth was certainly diminished by the personality of Godhead and by others as well. When he was present as an incarnation, all good was performed because of his auspicious footprints. So here it's again talking that 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 when Lord was present, then um, all the good was happening, and as he has lost, all the auspiciousness is gone. So when the Lord was there, he killed so many demons, right? So many demons like Vritasur and Aghasur, and so all of these demons represent. There is a chart. I don't remember that, but I was planning to have that. Each one of them align with this our ones with the with different anarthas. So different material desires which create the anxiety and which keeps us bondage in this world. So that's why it is saying, but that's all. They were all killed at that point of time. That means they were all always present. They all keeps coming, but wherever there is Lord's name, that because now Lord has left. But in this Kali Yuga, even after he left, for the pure devotees or the for the devotees of the Lord, he will always be present in the name. So that's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu this has given Namna Akari Bahuda Nis Sarv Shaktis. Everything, all the potencies of the Lord, that all the anarthas can go away just by the taking the holy name of the Lord. So even those who can now generally we say, oh, if I generally that people in ISKCON, even in other organizations, they will say that okay, I will be more inclined to ISKCON, or even in the ISKCON say I will be more surrendered to do my devotional service if Prabhupada was here. If I was, but they don't see the Prabhupada is still here. That's why he's in the Vigraha form and he's in the Vani form. So, but the pure devotees can see that even they can see the Lord in His holy name itself. So that's why the Prabhupada was acting, and he saw that. That's why Krishna was always with him, and that gave him the strength to execute so many services. Okay, one more. 117:27. Shochatya ashru kala sadhupi durbhage vojitaha sati
Sochati asharuka navratri
abhamanya vyaja
abramanya vajata
shuddha bhokshayanti mamiti.
yudhamukcha vimamiti.
Now she, the chaste one, being unfortunately forsaken by the personality of Godhead, laments her future with tears in her eyes, for now she is being ruled and enjoyed by lower class men who pose as rulers. Who you want to read? Purport?
The Kshatriya or the qualified to protect the sufferers is meant to rule the state. Untrained lower class men or men without ambition to protect the sufferers cannot be placed on the seat of an administrator. Unfortunately, in the age of Kali, the lower class men without training occupy the post of a ruler by strength of popular votes, and instead of protecting the sufferers, such men create a situation quite intolerable for everyone. Such rulers illegally gratify themselves at the cost of all comforts of the citizens, and thus the chaste mother earth cries to see the pitiable condition of her sons, both men and animals. That the future of the world in the age of Kali, when irreligiosity prevails most prominently, and in the absence of a suitable king to curb irreligious tendencies, educating the people systematically in the teaching of Srimad Bhagavatam will clear up the hazy atmosphere of corruption, bribery, blackmail, etc.
Yeah, so she is lamenting. So in the case, so this the word the socius, it also is comes
when actually Lord scolds, a kind of scolds to Arjuna in 2.11 when he says, Ashochen anvashochastam pragyavadasham bhasase. So he also, when Arjuna was lamenting, but Arjuna was lamenting because he was covered by Lord's potency, Maya potency, that point of time, and he was actually due to the loving relationship with their in the bond of the different relatives and friends, he was lamenting that he had to kill. So so that's why that was also a lamentation, that we generally have this kind of lamentation, but here is another lamentation we are hearing, that Mother Earth is lamenting when Lord is leaving. So the only difference is um, when because she is a devotee of the Lord, and when she is lamenting, she still remembers for the Lord, and she is craving for the Lord. So in that sense, that is a transcendental that lamentation. And even though she is suffering, but that lamentation, even we see like gopis, they have they lament when the Lord leaves from the Leela, from the Ras Leela. So even that point of time, they always they feel the separation from the Lord, but even in that separation, they always feel that transcendental ecstasy. That is the higher, that highness that we were talking about. So, so this is but there when Lord's remembrance is not there, then what happens? That we will see that reality of this world, that we will see that what is that it is being ruled and enjoyed by lower class men who pose as rulers. That means that there is a distress, and it's been with the different kind of the administrator who are irreligious, and they prevails, and they exhaust all the resources of this material nature, and they create more and more distress in the material in this world. So that's why this the remembrance of the Lord, even this lamentation, that's one that see, oh, Prabhupada is not here, or why Krishna is not here at this time. So if we see that name of the Lord, and Lord is not different, that lamentation itself turns into that it gives relief, and that's what we were talking. Even if I am at the beginning stage of this devotional service, so at least the Klesha Agni and Shubda, that, and I can just hold on to that all the time. And that's why this, but people have material desires, everyone has this material desires. So, but even with the material desires, we can, we actually intensify our service, our devotional service, and with the more intense, we can remember the Lord. And that's why this in the I think in first chapter itself, when Sutta Goswami was instructing, and then he says Tivrena Bhakti Yogena. That means even when Lord is not present, then and Akam Sarva Kamama. Even if you have desires, or you have no desire, or you have desire for liberation, the intensity of the rememberings of the Lord should be more and more focused. Kam sarva kamava moksha kam udarti. Even if I have the desire for any number of material desires, or if I have no desire, or if I have the desire for liberation, tivrena bhakti yogena. So that means by intensified that bhakti, that I can get the out of this misery. And yajet purusham param. That means I should serve that supreme person, supreme Lord. So yeah. Mm. Yeah.
Are we by lower class not able to?
So, in what you, in Sat Yuga, in the previous yugas, what used to happen before the takeover of Kali, that's what it is happening. That
The Kali has came over. Now the lower class of men are ruling. So there are different classes of men, like Brahmanas. There are then the Kshatriyas, then Vaishyas and Shudras. So they were working in alignment, and their goal was of society was a spiritual goal, that to serve the Lord. And they were guided by the Brahmanas. So they were in the highest position. They are always connecting, and they were guiding, taking the instructions from the previous acharyas. So they are taking, and so they are connected with the succession, and their instructions are coming from, in that way they are connecting with the Lord. So in that way society is pleased, because the activities are always auspicious, and they are always conducting not to create the suffering for others. And so if we have that kind of mode, but here now is saying, in one sense it is saying the lower classes Shudras. So the Shudras are those who do not have the much spiritual understanding, and they are more overcome by the senses, and they don't have much control. So they are done by the engaging in their activities, and they are watched over by the upper classes, and they in that way they execute their task. And that but because they don't have this understanding, and now suppose the Shudras, who is the lower class, who do not have the this understanding, and he's sitting, he's administrating, he's guiding the society, he will be taking to the material desires, because he himself does not have any control on his senses. So he does not himself has understanding that what is the goal of life. He does not understand, and that creates the chaos in the society. You want to add, Prabhu?
Here we say, our beginning of Kali Yuga, Lord Krishna departed from the world, and the theme of this year's time started like was saying that previously the society was such, like it was very perfectly run. So Brahmanas were considered to be the brain of the society, right? They study the scriptures, because education is not just material education. That is survive here in the world, but to get out of here, we require spiritual education. So Brahmana, they are the brain department of society. So they would guide Kshatriya. Kshatriya are the protectors, they help others, they then the Kshatriyas would look over the Vaishyas. Vaishyas are looking for maintenance of the society. They, their business and jobs and all this stuff. Or they help others to get engaged in the work. Shudra are the labor class department. Labor class need people to think about, not just follow them, or not just always defend. So Shudras are there. So now imagine if we spoke about this 2 weeks ago, that how if you have get your surgery done. You have very nicely qualified surgeon, the educated surgeon, versus the other one who has done a lot of slaughter now, cut a lot of animals. They both are very expert in using knives. To whom you will go? To a proper surgeon because they have proper understanding all of that. Now imagine the slaughter guy is now appointed as a surgeon. Now there are 10 surgeons. You have to choose between 10 distributors. This is our current situation. People also, just to clear on the Prabhupada says, they occupy the post of a ruler by strength of popular vote and instead of protect the popular vote because people, as in general society, also there is lack of God. People don't know one is scripture and then they will appoint somebody who they will help. But instead of who they appoint the Shudra. Shudra, why Shudra? Because Shudra's mentality is to get, gain. Or Shudra's mentality is, it is said that for Shudras, anybody who's like, it is not like we are all in Telugu, everybody is Shudra. Men, women, person, everything. Those who are 9 to 5 is basically because that is what work for others. Shudras work for others. So now imagine they are appointed as the leader. Basically, that's the leader. And their mentality is to gain. So they are not thinking that people are suffering, let me help them. But not just help them materially, but spiritually. Previously, Yudhishthira Maharaj, or Pariksit Maharaj, these are the kings, Bharat Maharaj. All these kings, they also like not even bird or an ant would get hurt there in that. But then the relationship is now the end of all the spiritually kind. Yeah. And
Important little weightage given spirituality when you are running a government, right?
Yeah.
Like it's all about how do I grow the economy, who's my enemy, who's my other thing. So I don't think anyone in that matter actually focus on how do you run a kingdom like Bharat Maharaj or Pariksit Maharaj used to run.
Right from schools, like nobody teaches about God.
I have a question. I'm just curious why we want to see the world this way, because the age of Kali, okay, I get this premise. It's kind of like when I go into the Christian world and they say we're all sinners, we're all born in sin and hell, and they talk about all this negative stuff. Well, as human beings, we create our own reality. So if we collectively agree that we live in the age of Kali, where things are messed up, then we're collectively going to see the world that we walk in as the age of Kali and messed up. If we collectively agree, hey, we live in heaven and everything is perfect, we're going to see that as well. So I'm just wondering why we want to focus so much time and energy on focusing on and creating. I just listened to you create a horrible scenario for the world. Like, why would we do that? I don't understand why anybody would do that.
But that's a reality.
It's not the reality. So I agree that what you believe is true for you.
No. I'm saying.
Well, no, here's what I'm saying. I agree that what you believe is true for you, but that doesn't mean it's universally true. Just because it's true for you doesn't mean it's universal truth. Universal truth is you're creating the world that you see with your thoughts, your words, and your actions. That's a universal truth like gravity. So if we collectively sit with somebody in a position of authority like the two of you and tell everybody that we live in the age of Kali, and we give this book that says, see, we live in the age of Kali, and then we ask everybody to look around and see, that's our reality, the age of Kali, then that's what people are going to see and continue to create. I don't understand why we would do that. It doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, I understand that this book is a fundamental principle of your belief system, just like the Bible is a fundamental, in the book of Enoch, and different cultures have different books. The books are, the past is history, the future is a mystery. All we have is right now, and we choose to create tomorrow collectively right now. And when we tell these negative stories to each other collectively, repeatedly, and we keep doing it, then we're just going to keep creating the age of Kali. Like, why? I live in heaven personally. I live in a state of heaven.
Something?
Sure.
So, my immediate thought is that we as humans have limited perception. So
Well,
we only know.
I'm sure that's true for you, but it's not true. That's not true. Humans do not have, inherently human beings do not have limited perception. They do not. That's true for you because that's what you believe.
Because I don't know the
So if you
future,
tell
I
your
don't know the past, so that's why I'm seeking guidance from
Right.
someone who is
That's true.
consciousnness is more elevated.
That's
than
true for you, but if you keep telling your kids that, then they're going to keep telling their kids that, and then we're just going to keep living in the world that we live in. The reality is we
But
have
what-
more powers
But
as
also-
human beings than you're giving yourself credit for. That's
Also,
true.
this is relative. Like what the books are teaching us here is that age of Kali is not the only time. Like time is cyclical, like seasons are.
Mhm.
So yes, it is negative in relation to how it was in the past, but that is not the goal to create an atmosphere of negativity.
But that's what you're doing. I'm saying that's not.
Yeah, it may seem
you're,
like
you're
that.
contradicting yourself. You're saying that's not the goal, but that's what you're doing.
But wait,
Here
why
there
why
is
why do you say that it's only about negatives?
I didn't say it's only about.
You missed the
You
point.
said that.
No, you missed the point in the beginning when we discussed. See here, Srila Prabhupada. Here he's saying, we read this letter that was written in 1960. When was this?
When he established this society in New York
Yeah.
City
Mhm.
in the 1960s, he came via ship to the Western world and started teaching scripture.
I mean that's cool, but that's 1960.
But you
It's
see-
2023,
no,
dude.
but
Like,
this
we're
is-
creating the future right now. Like,
No,
why-
He's
this is-
giving bright hope.
No, this is
Yeah.
this is not
You
this
don't need to
Mahamantra.
create bright hope with stories of 1960. You can create
No,
bright
this
hope
is true even
right
now. Like this is because it's by
Well,
the
it's true now
founder.
because you believe it and you keep talking about it. But what's true right now is what you talk about right now.
See, there's
So I have a thought on that. So let's say, I mean, so there are two ways to look at it. Okay, let's say what the scriptures are saying.